Join us at 7.
Available for free download, the KOAM News Now app is on iOS and Android.
Now at 9, a SWAT standoff in Joplin results in one man's arrest.
Bike paths like these are often full of cyclists here in McDonald County, but that is raising concerns with the County Commission, who's hoping to have more oversight over large cycling events. I'm Samantha Walker, and I'll have that story coming up.
AAA wants all locals to follow all traffic laws as schools are getting back in session. I'm Lonnie Walton in Joplin. I'll have that story coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The Joplin SWAT team is called into the Easttown neighborhood this afternoon and leaves with one man in custody. This is KOAM News at 9. I'm Tanya Bach. Police had initially responded to a report of a disturbance at a home on the 1300 block of South Furnace around 2 p.m. Captain Austin Wolf says an armed man had entered the home and was refusing to leave. The residents of the home were able to exit safely, but a standoff ensued. Around 5 p.m., the SWAT team began dropping flashbangs into the residence.
Despite the officers' efforts, the suspect did not leave the house, and so based on a lot of circumstances, SWAT was called. And one of the biggest reasons is we received information that the suspect was armed with possibly 2 long rifles.
The suspect exited the home and surrendered to police. Captain Wolf says he expects a first-degree burglary charge among the charges filed. Now, authorities are investigating the cause of a trailer fire which took the life of a man in Webb City. It happened around 5 this morning in the 4400 block of North Center Lane. Crews found smoke and flames pouring out of the home. One man, 60-year-old George McDonald, was unresponsive and taken to an area hospital. McDonald later died from his injuries. 2 other people also suffered from smoke inhalation and minor burns. And authorities in Joplin respond to a serious crash this morning on West Zora. It happened about 9 a.m. Both drivers were taken to area hospitals along with one child. Now, one driver was rushed priority after she was trapped for an extended amount of time. Both east and westbound lanes reopened shortly after 10 a.m. McDonald County's natural beauty draws in visitors from all over. In recent years, cycling has become more and more popular in the area, but large events and races with hundreds of bicyclists are also bringing safety concerns. KOAM's Samantha Walker has more on what action the county is taking to keep both riders and residents safe.
With beautiful scenery, McDonald County is a popular place for cycling, something the county knows it could capitalize on.
All this is coming out of Northwest Arkansas, and it's a huge development, a huge boost to that community, so we'd like to maybe get in on some of that.
But large cycling events and races have brought up safety concerns as well. One race alone brought in not only more than 1,300 participants, but also a helicopter flying overhead. Presiding County Commissioner Brian Hall says officials were not informed anything was to take place.
Obviously, with 1,300 riders on our roads here in the county that are very curvy terrain, hilly terrain, it created a lot of safety concerns and a lot of issues for our residents of the county.
Surprise events like this are causing not only traffic issues, but also safety concerns, as first responders were unexpectedly spread thin. Law enforcement, like the McDonald County Sheriff and other community leaders, are now working with the commission to find a solution.
And met with the citizens and have taken steps to create an ordinance to oversee these bike races and to have some foresight and be able to provide security and traffic control for the races.
The planned ordinance will not only have organizers inform county officials ahead of large events, but will also have promoters pay overtime for law enforcement officers. This will allow for officers from surrounding communities to help provide coverage at intersections and more safety on the roads.
We are a small community. We have limited resources, and to be able to provide, say there's an emergency out there, to get first responders out there, we have to be able to get them through the roads. You know, if we've got backup several miles long, that's going to create issues. So we want to be able to provide safety for the riders and participants in this race and for our citizens.
The commissioner says they're not against cycling here in McDonald County. In fact, they know it could provide a huge economic boost that they encourage, but they just want to make sure they have safety in mind.
We do also want to try to encourage future development growth, but we are looking at all those and trying to come up with a plan to make that happen for everybody involved.
Reporting in McDonald County, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
The commission says because there are several upcoming cycling races and events scheduled in McDonald County within the next few months, they are working to get an ordinance implemented within the coming weeks. Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joins us now with a first look at weather.
Yeah, and it really turned out to be a pretty normal day for us in the middle of August today, but we are going to start to heat things up as we go through the next few days. Temperatures are going to climb into the mid 90s, eventually the upper 90s by Friday, and then also into the weekend. There are some rain chances Monday and Tuesday, and potential, doesn't mean it's for sure, potential that we could cool down a little bit by the middle of next week. Pretty much clear skies, not much going on as we go through the night. We'll drop back upper 60s, so still fairly comfortable by the afternoon. A little bit hotter, 93, 94, 95 degrees. 79 Joplin, Pittsburgh sitting at 77, mainly upper 70s to lower 80s across the region. 90 for a high today, average highs 91, so very typical August-like day across the region, but it gets hotter. We'll talk about it here in just a bit.
Thanks, Doug. Well, it's an annual tradition and sign that students are heading back to the classroom in Columbus. This morning, the class of 2026 at Columbus High School completed their annual plank of filling the City Hall fountain with foam ahead of their first day of school today. In a Facebook post, the Cherokee County Treasurer's Office said the class of 2026 did not disappoint. Well, as the new school year kicks off, there are more than just buses back on the road. New teen drivers are too. As KOAM's Lonnie Walton reports, AAA is urging everyone behind the wheel to stay alert, especially near school zones and busy intersections.
Behind me is paying attention to the radio instead of my brake lights. End up impacting me.
Michael Higgins is a driver passing through Missouri. He says he was hit by a distracted driver who was looking down instead of looking up. These actions sent Higgins to the hospital.
That created what was my second neck surgery after that. So had to get plates, screws, put me back together.
Though Higgins was hit by a distracted driver back in the day, Nick Shabaria with AAA says hopefully that doesn't happen as students are returning back to school this year.
Putting your phones down. Of course, we have the new hands-free law, and that applies throughout the state for drivers of all ages.
And if this student is a first-time driver, Shabaria says, guardians, you have some work to do.
Just going over that route can help ease some anxiety, and you can also point out, potential hazards along the way, busy roads.
And by all means, slow down, Shabaria says.
As we know, even just a 10-mile-per-hour difference from 25 to 35 increases someone's chances of dying in a crash by about 2/3.
And about those phones.
So don't look down on your phone. If you need a text, pull over.
Keep those phones down.
And the experts tell me it's very important to be fully aware of your surroundings. Reporting in Joplin, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Last year in Missouri, 106 people died in crashes involving distractions. Of the people killed in Missouri, 52% were someone other than the distracted driver. Well, coming up, President Trump prepares for his meeting with Vladimir Putin.
President Trump says he's cautiously optimistic heading into the Alaska summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin. I'm Connor Hansen in New York. I'll have the details coming up.
But up first, a Southwest Missouri police force steps up its efforts to keep drunk drivers off the road with its latest hire, a phlebotomist.
Largest inventory in the area with the best pricing on the best brands. Do not buy tires from anyone until you talk to us first. Carnes Pro Tire, Quapaw, Oklahoma. Come and see us.
A warning from Missouri public health officials. A resident has contracted an infection from what's commonly called the brain-eating amoeba. And now investigators are trying to determine if it's linked to the Lake of the Ozarks. Authorities say while it's not confirmed, preliminary information implies the patient may have been water skiing at the Lake of the Ozarks prior to becoming ill. The amoeba is common and naturally present in warm freshwater such as lakes, rivers, and ponds. However, the infection is very rare, typically affecting fewer than 10 people a year in the United States. The Missouri patient is an adult and is currently in intensive care. Health officials say the infection cannot be spread by swallowing contaminated water. Instead, the amoeba travels up the nose and to the brain. People can reduce the risk of infection by avoiding stirring up sediment while in shallow, warm freshwater areas. The symptoms include fever, nausea, vomiting, stiff neck, and seizures, also an altered mental status and hallucinations. The disease progresses rapidly, so anyone experiencing the symptoms after swimming in a warm body of water should seek medical help immediately. Look for more information on KOAMnewsnow.com. The Southwest Missouri Police Department is making changes to help officers during DWI investigations. And one important part of these investigations is often the blood work. As Adam Woodbury shows us, the department now has an officer trained to do that.
The Aurora Marionville Police Department isn't the only law enforcement agency that has a trained phlebotomist on staff. Springfield Police, Monette Police, the Lawrence County Sheriff's Office all have them. The police chief here says that having someone who's able to come at a moment's notice can make a big difference when the minutes count.
Over the last couple of decades, the need for blood testing for driving while intoxicated enforcement has become much higher than the need for breath.
There was a time when a breathalyzer test was a bit of a gold standard for DWI investigations. But now Chief Wes Coatney says people are using more substances that wouldn't be detected.
Blood draw has to happen within a certain period of time for us to get an accurate account of what their intoxication level was at the time of the stop.
That's why the department sent an officer through a phlebotomy course with the Missouri Safety Center, and he's ready to go to the station anytime to do the work.
I've pretty much been able to set up my home life so that I'm ready whenever something comes up.
Sergeant Tim Swadley has been with the department for 17 years. He's also the school resource officer. He says it's been common to spend a few hours at the hospital waiting for a blood draw, but now it can all get done at the police station in just a few minutes.
So we had an issue a few weeks ago where they arrested somebody in the night, and from the time of the phone call to the time of me collecting the blood is about 20 minutes.
Now when you're brought in, they'll bring you in here to this chair, and that's when Sergeant Swadley will be doing his work. Be gentle with me too.
Oh, it'll be all right. You won't even notice.
Sometimes people who are arrested for DWI won't consent to having their blood drawn. And if that happens, officers can get a search warrant and do it.
When you're talking about a police officer who is most likely on the same department as the other officer doing the investigation, or potentially the very same officer who is doing the DWI investigation, that could raise some concerns.
Criminal defense attorney Adam Woody says for him, having an officer trained to draw blood could be seen as a conflict of interest, even though state statute allows it. But he also recognizes why it would be beneficial for a rural community.
They wouldn't necessarily have 24/7 on-staff nursing at the jails, and oftentimes ambulance districts are stretched too thin in the rural jurisdictions to really respond to do those types of things.
Well, the department is not able to test the blood on site. It's only able to withdraw it. And the blood is then sent to the Missouri State Highway Patrol's lab in Springfield for testing. It's that time of year again. We're getting close to the transition from summer to fall allergy season. The basic fall allergens can cause symptoms like itchy, watery eyes, sore throat, sneezing, and itching. Now, mold and weeds like ragweed, which start presenting around mid-August, tend to be the biggest culprits. When the leaves start falling off the trees and the rain and cool nights return, it can cause some distress for allergy sufferers. Doctors at Mercy say starting your allergy medications now can help you keep your allergies at bay throughout the fall season.
Like antihistamines like Zyrtec, Claritin, Allegra, and nasal steroid sprays like Flonase. If you start them at the beginning of August, then it has a chance to build up into your systems. If you've already started having symptoms, or we've already started in that allergen season, you can still benefit from taking the medication. You just may still experience some of those symptoms initially.
When the pollen is at its highest, doctors say to keep your windows shut and shed any clothes that have been outdoors. And you can bring pollen into your house and cause more stress. They also say to take a shower to wash the pollen off your skin. But they say avoiding the outdoors is best. Well, Doug is next with a complete look at your forecast. And later, Trump heads to Alaska to meet Putin with talk of peace, pressure, and a possible three-way summit on the line.
You're invited to Kids Fest, Saturday, August 16th, 11 to 4 at Ron Supermarket.
It's time for...
Tonight's weather camera footage of downtown Joplin sits atop the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex, home of Connect to Culture and Spivus Center for the Arts.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a pretty good day for us today, right about where we should be for this time of the year, and it looks nice outside for us right now. Mostly clear skies. Not much popping up on the Skywatch Storm Tracker, which after the rain we had Sunday and Monday, we could use a little bit of a break, but we need it consistently in here, especially how hot it has and will be. All right, let me take you through time. So by morning, we're sitting into the upper 60s. Not bad, still fairly comfortable. As we go through the morning, quick warm up though. We're going to be near 90 once we get to the noon hour. Once we get into the afternoon, a smidge hotter. I think most of us 93, 94, 95 degrees across the region with partly sunny skies. Heading into tomorrow night, we drop back. Here's about 6:30 in the morning on Friday morning. Low to mid 70s, so a warmer start, hotter finish. I think most of us go to 96, 97, or 98 degrees. Then Friday night into Saturday morning, we only drop back mid 70s once again. So we're inching upward. It's not atypical heat by any means. It's just we're inching upward. 70 to start, 90 by noon. High temp 94 as we go into your Thursday. Great shot. This is our Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex tower cam. We're looking northeast right through downtown Joplin. It looks pretty good. Most of us mid to upper 70s. We still have some 80s hanging on in our southern counties, but our humidity is still kind of up there. These are our dew points in a degree fashion. So what 69, 70 degree dew point means for you in the summer months, it feels sticky to a little bit muggy, and we're going to see that sticking around as well. Heat indices for us tomorrow, they're going to get up there, 95, 96, a smidge above what our actual high temperature will be. Then our heat index a little bit higher on Friday. Most of us, it'll feel like 100, upwards to about 104 across the region. Here's the reason why. Remember that big dome of high pressure, the heat dome that we've seen a couple times so far this summer. Overall, we haven't hit 100 yet this summer. We averaged that 3 times. Now, I do want to put this into factor. It's very hard to hit 100 when you have higher humidity. So some years you're in the 90s with high humidity and those higher heat indices. Some years it's drier and you pop above 100. So it's a little more humid of a pattern for us. That's what we're going to see this weekend. High pressure will start to shove back toward the west as we get into the middle of next week. So that could bring in a little bit cooler air. Hopefully we'll see another little wave passes by late next week as well. So there's hints of a little bit cooler air late next week. Wouldn't be cold by any means. All right, so Saturday, we're talking 96, 97, 98 degrees once again. Sunday, much of the same, 96, 97, 98 degrees. So very hot, mainly a dry weekend. 94 Thursday, 97 on Friday, 97 on Saturday, 97 on Sunday. Monday, 96, 92 Tuesday. Make it down into the mid to upper 80s the middle of next week. We'll see if we can get a cold front through here. It would be nice though.
And if you didn't get to mow, you probably have a few days you could do it now.
There you go.
There you go. That's me. All right, thanks, Doug. Well, coming up next, the back-to-school season is underway and parents are digging into their wallets to fill their kids' backpacks. We've got tips to help you save on the most expensive devices as they head back to the classroom.
Visit pawprintsontheheartland.org to see how you can help time.
A new CNET survey shows families expect to spend far less on back to school this year, with many worried about tech cost. Fox's Ted Linder has tips to save.
While the school year can seem long for students, their back to school supply lists can seem even longer for their families and their wallets. But binders and pencils aside, a new CNET survey reveals 78% of back-to-school shoppers are concerned about technology purchases this year.
And that's for a number of reasons.
With 46% of shoppers worried about rising prices and tariffs, every dollar adds up. But besides taking the cost of devices into consideration,
It really goes down to what it is that your student will need for the back to school year. If it's mainly for creating and reading documents, you might be able to get away with something more budget friendly. But when we start thinking about data analyzation, creating images, you might want to look into something a little bit more pricey that has a better processor, better storage, better memory.
and while consumers can look to save money by buying secondhand devices, make sure you're purchasing from a trusted source after checking the following.
See if that battery is in good condition, because that's really what's going to determine the life span of your tablet or your laptop. You're going to want a return policy and a warranty just in case you're not satisfied, or when you buy this item that you don't experience any defects.
Meanwhile, for the 23% of shoppers concerned about extra tech fees, like subscription costs,
Definitely will look at any codes, any student codes, school codes, any discounts that can lower that cost. Look for free trials.
Ted Lindner, Fox News.
Well, the Big Biscuit restaurant in Joplin is hosting a Stuff the Bus Joplin School Supply Donation Drive. Customers can come in and donate any new school supplies that'll stay in the Joplin community. The supply drive will continue through Sunday. Coming up next, get ready to make a splash. The end of summer dog swim returns to Pittsburgh with all proceeds benefiting the SEK Humane Society.
At Casey's, we're too nice to say no. It's why we said yes to delivering pizza and delivering people to the
Oh yeah. The 15th annual Dog Swim, sponsored by the Pittsburgh Parks and Recreation, hosted a splashing puppy party that saw dogs and their owners come out for lots of tail wagging and cool wading. The swim was open to the public and required a vaccination record prior to entering the park. All donations were given to the SEK Humane Society.
So it all goes towards our medical costs. So right now, unfortunately, what we're seeing from a lot of intakes is that a lot of kids are coming in hurt or sick, sadly. We've had to do a lot of emergency surgeries. So the funds from this event are going to go straight to those kids with getting them back on their feet.
Well, different breeds took a break from the dog days of summer to splash their way to happiness under the guidance of their owners. You'd say it was a tail-wagging good time. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Coming up, President Trump heads to Alaska for high-stakes talks with Vladimir Putin as allies urge a ceasefire, and Zelensky warns Russia is turning up the pressure. And Mexico plans to extradite 26 cartel leaders as the U.S. steps up its war on drugs.
The Big Bang Theory, tonight at...
You're welcome, son.
You're watching the 4 states' most watched news.
And this is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and European leaders speak with President Trump, offering their input before Friday's highly anticipated summit. Fox News correspondent Connor Hansen reports.
There's a very good chance that we're going to have a second meeting.
President Trump hopes a successful meeting with Vladimir Putin in Alaska will quickly lead to another summit with Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. But Trump says he'll have to feel out Putin's intentions first and isn't making big predictions ahead of time.
I've had a lot of good conversations with him. Then I go home and I see that a rocket hit a nursing home or a rocket hit an apartment building and people are laying dead in the streets.
Ahead of the summit, the president spoke with Zelensky and European leaders. The allies stressed the need for a ceasefire before starting negotiations. They also want stronger economic sanctions on Russia if Putin does not agree. Zelensky had this warning.
Putin is bluffing. He's trying to put pressure on all fronts of the Ukrainian front ahead of the meeting in Alaska. Russia is trying to portray itself as capable of occupying the whole of Ukraine.
Putin reportedly wants Ukraine to give up a large portion of the Donetsk region. The idea has so far been a non-starter for Zelensky.
I think we're going to have to, just like Reagan reminded us, we're going to have to trust but verify. And any agreement that is, put in writing and signed by the parties is going to have to be enforced.
While the U.S. spoke with its allies, Vladimir Putin held a call with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, who has been supporting Russia's military. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
The White House is reviewing exhibits and materials at the Smithsonian Institution. Top aides for President Donald Trump say the initiative is an effort to comply with the president's directive to celebrate American exceptionalism and remove divisive or partisan narratives. The Smithsonian Institution consists of 21 museums and the National Zoo. The review is set to focus on public-facing content, the curatorial process, and the use of existing materials and collections. Well, playing hardball with Mexico is paying off. The Mexican government announced the upcoming expulsion of more than 24 drug lords to U.S. custody. Fox News correspondent Griff Jenkins has more from Washington.
The Trump administration has made taking the fight to the cartels a top priority, and now Mexico is stepping up. 26 wanted drug fugitives, including top cartel leaders, will be expelled from Mexico and extradited to the U.S. It includes the leaders of the Sinaloa, Noreste, and Jalisco cartels, all designated as foreign terrorist organizations. Attorney General Pam Bondi writing, quote, "These 26 men have all played a role in bringing violence and drugs to American shores. Under this Department of Justice, they will face severe consequences." The announcement from Mexico came less than a week after President Trump reportedly told the Pentagon to use military force against the cartels.
The Mexican government is now cooperating with the U.S. government because it does not want U.S. forces going into Mexico to take care of the cartels.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth wouldn't confirm the president's order, but he told Fox News the U.S. military is taking a more active role in the war on drugs.
When given the opportunity, when it makes sense at the directive of the president, we will take action to defend the American people.
This follows a February transfer of 29 other cartel leaders. Officials on both sides of the border hoping to send a powerful message after years of cartel protection under former Mexican President Obrador's hugs, not bullets policy.
We've arrested over 19,000 criminals, and we've seized thousands of tons of narcotics, and we will not stop.
The extradition flight from Mexico to the U.S. is scheduled for next Tuesday. In Washington, Griff Jenkins, Fox News.
Well, Doug is next with a complete look at your forecast, and later restoration and archaeology come together at a 1700s German stone house in Virginia.
Buy new Hondas with 0.99%
Arts and Entertainment Complex, home of Connect to Culture and Spiva Center for the Arts.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a very typical August day for us today. Temperatures were mainly into the lower 90s for afternoon highs, right about 90, 91 degrees, which is right where we should be for this time of the year. Pretty much clear skies, not much going on for us right now. It looks pretty good as we go through the overnight hours. Temperatures, they're going to drop back into the upper 60s, so a fairly comfortable start to kick off on your Thursday. By the noon hour, we're already going to be near 90 degrees. Once we get into the afternoon, most of us 93, 94, 95 degrees. So what you need to know for your Thursday, just a little bit hotter than what we saw today, but still we're going to have a pretty good summer-like day. Let's go into Thursday night. Temperatures, they're going to drop back into lower 70s, pop right back up as we go into Friday afternoon, a little bit hotter. I think most of us 96, 97, 98 degrees as we get into Friday afternoon. All right, let's go 90 by noon. High temp, right around 94 degrees. Plenty of sunshine on your Thursday. Great shot. Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex, looking northeast right through downtown Joplin. 78 in Stockton, 79 in Neosho. It's still 80 at Grand Lake. Parsons is sitting at 76 degrees, but our humidity, it's a little up there. Dew points upper 60s to near 70. This is always a good indication of where your overnight low is going to go, because if you hit that dew point, you get dew, of course. So it looks like we'll drop back into the upper 60s, but when you get upper 60s dew points, it feels a little sticky. It's kind of not bad to sticky by the time we get into the morning. Heat index for us tomorrow is going to creep up a little bit more. Mid 90s, 96, 97 will be the way it feels to your skin. As we go into Friday afternoon, creeps up a little bit more. Heat index 100, 103, 104 degrees by the time we go into Friday afternoon. Due to our heat dome, big dome of high pressure, In the winter months, high pressure is usually pretty good. You get sunshine, no snow. In the summer months, you still get the sunshine, but you get the heat, you get the humidity. Now it's going to shove its way back toward the west as we get through the middle of next week. That will try, it's a possibility, it will try to swing in some waves, which one could give us some rain chances Monday and Tuesday. Two could cool us down a little bit as we head into the second half of next week. But I'm not 100% confident on this, but of course something we'll keep our eyes on. Heading into the weekend, temperatures kind of stay into the upper 90s for afternoon highs. All right, let's go 94 on Thursday, 97s Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then on Monday and Tuesday, the slight chance for storms, a little bit cooler, middle of next week.
All right, and I'm sure we'll be ready for rain by then.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, thanks, Doug. Well, still ahead, the Royals and Cardinals wrap up their current series on Wednesday. Stay tuned to see how they fared. And high school football practices are ramping up across Missouri and Oklahoma. We're going to hear from the Nevada Tigers next.
The Nevada Tigers have established themselves as a winning program with 5 consecutive winning seasons. And as the Tigers enter 2025, familiar faces will lead the way on both sides of the ball. Offensively, Nevada will stick to their roots on the ground with a strong run game that has become a focal point in recent years. The Tigers return a dangerous duo in the backfield to pair with their dual threat quarterback.
We've been very successful running the football over the last couple of years. We've had 3 years in a row with an all-state running back. Will Jackson was first team all-conference and first team all-Southwest Missouri and third team all-state. As a sophomore last year, had 1,400 yards rushing. John Michael Collins kind of had our eyes on him for quite a while. Very talented back when he was in middle school. He ended up with being our leading receiver out of the slot and also rushing 4,000 yards too. And he was all-conference first team and all-area first team. So we know what those guys bring to the table. And then when you mix in a young man like Kellen Braden who can run the ball kind of like a fullback mentality, and it can also throw it a little bit. That gives us the opportunity to throw the ball a little bit too off the run action.
Over the past few seasons, the linebacker position has been a strength for the Nevada defense, and this year won't be any different. The Tigers will rely on their linebackers to lead the way in 2025 with 3 returning starters from a year ago.
I just think, having a good linebacker group, that's a big part of our defense, kind of the center of the defense, push guys to fly around, make plays. We just got to give it our all every play.
They're not only physical and downhill guys that also drop and cover the pass well, they're also high character guys. It's got Jet Snyder, Drew Miller, and Kobe Buck are the 3 returners that you're talking of. 2 of those guys were all conference, Drew Miller and Jet Snyder. And our linebackers definitely lead the defense. Our defensive coordinator, Neil Barnes, coaches our linebackers, and we've had a good run of linebackers here for the last 5 or 6 years.
The Tigers open their season on the road against Monette on August 29th. Kickoff is set for 7 p.m. The Royals and Cardinals highlighted the afternoon sports slate today as Kansas City wrapped up their series against the Nationals with St. Louis battling the Rockies. KC looking to pick up the 3-game sweep of Washington, but falls short, dropping the finale 8-7. Royals trailed 5-0 after the first inning, but mounted a comeback, scoring 7 of the game's next 9 runs to tie it in the 8th. but a go-ahead single in the ninth inning fueled the Nationals to the win. Vinny Pasquantino hit his second home run in as many days and finished with 4 RBIs. Bobby Wood Jr., he put together another multi-hit performance and collected a pair of ribbies as well. Kansas City has the off day tomorrow and welcomed the White Sox to town on Friday. As for the Cardinals, today's rubber match was for the series. For the second time in the last month, the Rockies take a series from St. Louis with a 6-5 win today. Pedro Pages knocked in a pair of runs for the Redbirds, along with Alec Burleson and Mason Wynn, each clearing the yard with homers as well. But a Hunter Goodman go-ahead 2-run blast in the ninth inning fueled Colorado to their second straight win. That's it for sports. We're back after the break.
In Virginia's Shenandoah Valley, a home built in the 1700s is getting new life through rehabilitation. Olivia Whitehouse went out to the historic farm to learn more about its history.
It sits on 270 acres of land, right next to the Shenandoah River, with a history dating back to the 1700s. While restoration work on the home is underway, others are looking for artifacts around the property.
As the stabilization is taking place, we are here where they have moved soil that was in place, and we're screening it to look for the artifacts and to see how what we're finding today matches up with what we found 10 years ago.
Carol Nash with the Archaeological Society of Virginia says this is one of the great stone houses of the Page Valley.
It is what we call a German Flurkuchenhaus design, which means that it is a design that dates back to the medieval period in Germany. And it's very much like the other houses here in the valley. It's got a barrel cellar, a barrel roof cellar. It has a floor plan that is very much focused on the family itself.
Nash says there are other houses in Page County with a similar design, referred to locally as the forts.
They date to the period of the French and Indian War, and there's a mistaken assumption that they were built as fortifications against attack, when really this is an old German design.
Volunteers have been screening outside of the home to find artifacts.
So we have animal bone from their meals, we have ceramics, their dishes, we have pane glass from the windows. You get the image of a family here in place making their way out here in what at that time was the frontier.
Nash says through handling artifacts that have been untouched for about 200 years, she has also been able to learn more about the environmental history of the area as well.
Well, Martin and Short and Gomez, oh my, the popular murder mystery Hulu show Only Murders in the Building is back with season 5. Check out the new trailer up next in Hollywood Nation. Only Murders in the Building takes on a deadly new case, and K-pop demon hunters gear up for a theater takeover. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin has all the latest in today's Hollywood Nation.
We're gonna miss you, buddy.
The Arconia's new murder mystery, Lakeview, faces digital doomsday, and K-pop demon hunters go karaoke in the Hollywood Nation.
It's time.
Fans of K-pop demon hunters can rock out to Netflix's hit animated film in theaters with a special sing-along event August 23rd and 24th. Audiences can join in on favorite songs from the film, including the Billboard Hot 100 chart topper Golden. Since its June 20th debut, the movie has become Netflix's most popular animated film of all time, with its soundtrack topping 3 billion streams worldwide.
Being replaced by AI.
Prime Video teases the final chapter of the sci-fi comedy Upload in today's First Looks. The streamer dropped the trailer for season 4 with a rogue AI threatening to delete Lakeview. Facing greedy execs, lingering mysteries, and heartbreak on and offline, the crew teams up one last time to save humanity. The show returns August 25th.
The police report just came in.
Steve Martin, Selena Gomez, and Martin Short are back for their most dangerous investigation yet in season 5 of Only Murders in the Building. The trailer gives a glimpse of the popular crime-solving trio investigating the death of their doorman Lester, which pulls them into a high-stakes case tangled with billionaires and old-school mobsters. Renee Zellweger, Christoph Waltz, and Bobby Cannavale are among new cast members. The latest case opens September 9th.
I'm gonna work my way in there.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
That's our time for tonight. Thank you for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of harbor seals playing at the Oregon Coast Aquarium. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.